This podcast is brought to you by Clarizen. They're the leader in enterprise project and portfolio management. Visit clarizen.com to learn more. Welcome to the DPM videocast, where Kelly and I give our 5 cents on all things going on in our DPM tribe. I'm Ben Aston, founder of the Digital Project Manager.
And I'm Kelly, an executive producer at Miram Agency.
Cool. So in today's videocast, we're just going to give a quick overview of all the things that have been happening in our world over the past month and just have a quick chat about them to quickly get you up to speed with everything that's been going on. So the big news, the news that everyone's talking about, is that Kelly has a new job. Kelly, tell us about your new job.
Yes, so about 2.5 weeks ago, I started a new job here as an executive producer at Miram Agency in Minneapolis. Miram it's a global agency, but really we focus on one account here where I'm at. And as an executive producer, I think it goes to show that titles can vary.
Yeah, what is an executive producer?
Well, it's interesting because it's a project manager, but the reason that executive producer has stuck is because Miram is 20 different agencies that have been acquired under what is now Miram, and executive producer was a title that actually existed from the San Diego office, and so maybe it's a California thing, and then it's stuck. So here I am, an executive producer, not of movies, but of projects.
There we go. So if you're not an executive producer yet, you could be, if only you moved to the West Coast. Maybe it's a West Coast thing. Are you an executive producer? Please let us know in the comments. We're searching for other executive producers who Kelly can be fancy with. But my big news, I got a haircut. What does everybody think?
Wonderful.
Big news, right? And in other more important news, things are going to go quiet over the next few weeks in DPM land because I'm going on holiday for 3 weeks. So watch this space. I'm going to Kenya and going to try and avoid being eaten by hippos, as I was warned by the doctor. She said, what's the animal you should be most afraid of? And of course I knew the answer. The terrible hippo who can run 35 miles an hour. It's got a big mouth. So I'll be watching out for hippos.
Oh my gosh, I would have said lion.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe lions are not as dangerous. Yeah. Anyway, other big news, apart from us, is that we have been working on membership. And we've got a small bunch of people in our beta group, or beta, if you're from America. And so we're launching our membership beta, is what I'm going to call it. And we're really keen to find out, though, what people want out of a membership. We've got more than 600 people now on the waiting list for membership. And I'm really curious to find out why they're on the waiting list, what they think they're going to get. So if you've got an idea about what you think membership should be all about, any kind of content that you wish was on the Digital Project Manager but that isn't, please let us know and add your name to the membership waitlist, and we'll get you in there just as soon as we can. And in other big news, we recently launched a new site search. It's not amazing, but it is better than it was. So if you are on the hunt for stuff on the DPM site and you've never been able to find it, check out our new search, see if you can find something, and let us know what you think. But I want to switch now to talk about some of the content that we've been publishing over the past few months. The first thing is a post on project charters. Now, I'm curious, Kelly, have you ever written a project charter as a DPM? Have you ever done a project charter?
I have never done a project charter, and if I had, I wouldn't know that it was called a project charter. The only I had another PM that I had worked with as a coworker, and he had his PMP certification, and he brought up the need for project charters. And so I did learn a thing or two, but I have never formally made one or been required to. More about it.
Yeah, so check out our post on project charters. If you're from the PMP world, a project charter won't be anything new to you. But a project charter kind of brings together all the goodies from the documentation that we traditionally use at the beginning of a project. It kind of sets the scene for what the project's all about, why you're doing it. But check out our post on project charters. Maybe you should write one for your next project. We also published a post on how to build trust. Mike Clayton from Online PM Courses wrote a post, a really good post about how it is that when we're working with the team, we can build trust with the team. But how do you like to do that, Kelly? When you're at a new agency now, you're working with new teams. Obviously, people are a bit wary, right? So what are the things that you do? Have you got any kind of tips on how you build trust with the team? What do you do?
Yeah, that's a really good question, especially with the context of being new. I think the main things I focused on in this new job is not multitasking, because I think trust and respect go hand in hand. And I think you gain trust by being present and showing people that you're actually listening, that we're not just in our emails constantly, but we're there, we're hearing what the issues or concerns might be, and that we capitalize on them and we follow up with those action items. And another way I earn trust is I try to zip my lip when it comes to either getting frustrated verbally about the client in front of my teams, and then vice versa about my teams in front of the client. Because regardless if you are not in the presence of those that you're talking about, your frustrations about, I think that it's still something that shows, and it's a dynamic you can avoid, and people will notice if you are staying, consistent with just supporting both sides of the team best you can. I think that that's a really great way to gain trust from teams.
Yeah, good tips. I think one other thing that I'd add, like particularly when you're new to a place, make sure you invest the time in going and having one-on-one time with people individually. So making sure that you actually get to know the people as individuals rather than just the team that are doing the work. And as we begin to kind of build that relationship with people, building that trust is much simpler. So anyway, check out the post from Mike on building trust. It's a really solid post, lots of good tips in there. And finally, we published one other thing this month. Mackenzie Dizer wrote a post on project objectives that will make your project smart. And project objectives, I think, are one of those things that as project managers, we are often not necessarily responsible for. But I think the more that we become kind of focused and drilled in on, return on investment and whether or not a project is worth doing and how it's going to deliver value for a client, I think the more kind of useful we can be as project managers, because we can make sure we're delivering towards the client's objective of delivering value. But I'm curious to ask you, Kelly, in kind of the projects that you're working on at the moment, how clearly defined are the project objectives? There's the kind of project objectives in terms of, okay, deliver it on time, deliver it on budget, and there's a whole bunch of scope. But then in terms of the kind of project objectives and the results, how kind of clued in are you to that kind of stuff?
That's a really good question, because I think in my own mind, I could list off right now all of the objectives that I think are the objectives. And hopefully they line of, at least 90% with what the client would have to say and what the project team would have to say. But I can definitely say that's not documented anywhere. It's one thing to have an SOW, but I mean, project objectives to me are something that can be a bulleted list, 3 to 5 items that you can boil it down to. And from the Managed Digital conference that I was just at, there was a really good speaker, and I'll provide a recap of sorts, but there was a good speaker on value streams. And I think that lines up well with this idea of objectives, because you have a value stream that's triggered by something to get an end result. How are we going to make that happen? But always keep that end result in mind so you don't get off course. Yeah. So I'll have to document those.
Yeah, cool. So talking of talks and webinars and things like that, in case you missed it, we've had 2 webinars this month. The first one was about the art of difficult conversations, how we make difficult conversations easy. And, if you're a digital project manager, you're having difficult conversations day in, day out. So we talked about how we can approach them, how we can actually avoid them from happening in the first place. But then once we know that they're happening, what we do about them. And also we had an exclusive webinar for members only, which is all about building healthy team culture. So again, that kind of goes to that building trust thing that we're talking about. But I think this is such an important topic, how we build healthy team culture so that, our teams are engaged in the project and engaged in their work. And as project managers, I think we have a massive role to play in that. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the webinar yet and you're a member, make sure you make time to watch that. But finally, I want to talk about the Managed Digital Conference that you were at, which was actually sponsored by the DPM School. And Kelly is one of only 2 digital project manager conferences, I think, that are out there. What did you make of it?
I thought it was, this was the second annual Managed Digital Conference, and I wasn't able to go to the first one last year. For being a one-day conference, it was so jam-packed with such good things. So you had a couple, simultaneous breakout sessions in 2 different parts of the day. There were table sessions that you got together with groups that are either in-house or agency. You could go with like-minded, rather like industry, what sort of teams you work on. And then there would be questions that you guys all brainstorm and discuss on. And that's just really where I find myself writing down different tools people are using. That's honestly what I get the most out of it. The best collaboration spaces people are working in, different kinds of projects and approaches. And then in those breakout sessions, there's just all sorts of topics. Like I said, value streams was one of them. Requirements documentation was another. PM burnout, which is such a real thing, was a keynote. And it really touched on so much to be packed into one day. So it's a fantastic opportunity. In the Midwest, we really didn't have much there, so I personally appreciate it, being from Minnesota, but we did have people flying in to come see it, so I'm excited to see how it continues to evolve.
Awesome. Cool. And yeah, as a sneak preview for anyone who's watching today, Kelly has said she will do her requirements gathering workshop for us, for our members, as part of the DPM team. So we are looking forward to that coming up. So watch out for that. And one of the things that you mentioned were tools, and I think everyone always liked hearing about tools. And actually, another one of the sponsors at the Managed Digital Conference was Vogsy. And Vogsy is, if you use G Suite, it's a worthwhile tool checking out because it integrates really well with that. And it's got everything. It's a complete agency or professional service project management tool, from a CRM. It's got resourcing, all that project management functionality, right the way through to invoicing and cash flow and stuff as well. So if you're looking for a complete end-to-end tool, check out Vogsy. They are our tool of the month. And also, just talking about tools, we re-released a couple of our listicles. So if you're in the market for a resource management tool, check out our latest list. And we've also updated marketing project management software. So if you're in the market for a new tool or just curious as to what's going on in the world of tools, head to digitalprojectmanager.com/tools. Now, finally, the only other thing I wanted to mention before we go is the DPM School. Now, I mentioned we were a sponsor at the Managed Digital Conference, but yeah, we have just finished one of our DPM schools, and another one is about to begin at the beginning of June. So if you're watching this now and it's before the beginning of June, there's still some time to get your registration in. The course is filling up pretty fast, but I think we've got a few spaces left. So if you're interested in learning how to start projects better, plan projects better, and control projects, lead them better, so that you deliver value right the way through a project, check out the dpmschool.com and come and join our next class. It begins June 3rd. So that is all that we have got time for today. Kelly, it's been great having you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. And if you want to join the conversation, come to the Digital Project Manager /Slack, and we'd love to have you join the tribe, join the conversation, and so you can check out everything that's going on. But until next time, goodbye.